Hi, in this second video in this door building series, I'm going to do the joinery for putting the door panel together, and I'm also going to do the stop dados within the doors that are going to house the panels. They're going to be doing raised panels for this door, all out of solid material, and those next couple of steps are going to be accomplished in this video, and then follow along in the next video. I'm going to be doing those raised panels themselves. In the last video, I marked out for all the dominoes. Here, I'm going to do a test cut. So the top surface, I'm using the same reference surfaces for both all the pieces. So I know that's going to be fine, but I want to just check here to make sure I'm approximately in the center, which I was. So then using my Domino XL, I've got a 10mm bit in here set for a 50mm cut. So 50mm on each side gets me the whole 100mm for the full-length domino. Just knock these all out. It's pretty straightforward once you get going, and the dust collection keeps it from making a giant mess and bogging the bit down as you go. More of the same here, just zoomed in so you can see it a little better. I'm holding my work down with a hold fast into the bench, and then you can see the lines I marked on earlier. There's a nice little alignment notch on the domino joiner itself. So you just line up on there, plunge the bit in, it oscillates back and forth as it goes, and in a second here you're going to see the nice clean mortises this leaves behind that the domino loose tendons are going to go into later. So cutting the mortises into the rails is no different. Just line up on the marks, slowly plunge in, and next thing you know, you're done. Now at the table saw with the dado bits set up, I'm cutting the grooves that the loose panel door is going to slide into. So get as close to center as you can, but just to make sure, you'll see I run it on one side, flip it around, and run it in the other direction. That way I know that the slot that's left behind is perfectly centered. It's pretty easy on these guys. You'll see in a second I'm going to have to do these stopped on the side rails, and that's a little bit more complicated. But these are pretty straightforward. Set it up, just get the depth right and the width, and just let them rip. So the process is a little trickier here on the stiles. So I'm going to just use one of the dominoes to put these guys in, line them up. I'm going to mark the end of each of these rails just so I know exactly where those locations are, lined up off of the dominoes. And then using my ruler, I'm going to offset those by the depth of that groove, which is about 3/4 of an inch. Mark those each in deeper from the locations of the edge, square them up, and I'm going to use these marks in a little bit when I get back on the table saw to cut the stopped grooves in these pieces. With the same dado stack set up, I have to find out what is the furthest that this will cut in each direction. So just using a nice square piece of scrap, spinning the blade to find as far as you can go without touching the blade. Put a little tick marks on my zero clearance insert there. I'm going to then use these tick marks I'm drawing with the pencil, line those up with the marks I just made on the stiles themselves, showing where I want each of these stopped dados to begin and end. So now, carefully lowering the piece down onto the spinning dado stack. The idea is to line up that vertical line we just made onto the tick mark on the zero clearance insert. That'll get this cut to start right where I want, and then very carefully, slowly push that forward until the next mark meets its line, and then lift up. Just sort of work your way progressively along the board, lather, rinse, repeat until this process is done. As I'm finishing this cut up, I'm going to set it down on the table, and you're going to see these nice stopped grooves in there that I'm going to have to do a little more work on, but these are just about ready to take the door panels when I put this frame together. Now for a bunch of chisel work, you can see the round edge left in this groove here from the dado stack. So I just need to square this up to allow the square door panel to fit in there without having to clip its corners off or something in that regard. So just take your time here, start with a stop cut, pop out a chip, go a little deeper, pop out a chip, clean up the sides, and just slowly get the job done, and you're going to end up with a nice clean result. As I'm finishing chopping this last piece, this is going to do it for part 2. These guys are ready for the door panels, and hopefully you'll join me, and I'd like to see you next time. Thanks for watching.